Tonight's episode seemed like a how-to for dummies. It was a lot of hand-holding and a lot of episode magic that took place. So I don't want to hold y'all. Let's get right into this thing. Let's talk about it. What up, everybody? It's your boy K-Ray06 here on K-RayTV, and we're back for another All-American recap review. If you've been keeping up with the channel, you know that there wasn't an episode upload last week. So, in tonight's upload, we are going to cover episode 4 and 5 for the recap review. Alright? So y'all know we're going to give y'all the good, the bad, and the downright disrespectful on both episodes. Now, episode 4 was titled, My Mind's Playing Tricks on Me. The main plot of the episode revolved around the mental wellness and the effects it had on people, unchecked and checked. With Spencer and Simone really carrying the load of the episode, and also Darnell. Now, we still have Liv still dealing with a lot of undress issues, but at the moment she is still taking a back seat to the rest of the cast and being inserted in this love triangle summer secret plotline they got going on. Episode starts off with Spencer in therapy, and we get a new person on the show, Dr. Spirit. Yes, that's his real name. Some of you have seen him, or some of you might recognize him from the movie 8 Mile. Yeah, that guy. But here he serves up some good and gives you insight of things that go on during therapy. They go over things like stuck points. They show that you get assignments during therapy and you really have to do the homework. Trust me, for a person that has attended and really does go to therapy, this was a good representation of that. Now, Spencer is trying to figure out, now, even though he is healed, what is triggering the numbness in his arm. So the entire episode, he is on that quest. Simone, on the other hand, is dealing with the blowback of giving her son away, and the unknown and uncertainty of him being okay and happy that she blows Jordan off the first half of the episode before coming clean and then actually coming to talk to him. During the interaction, though, I want y'all to pay attention to this, all right? Because I don't know if this was covered, but y'all need to catch it. Jordan says, like you said, what we have is not a situationship. We made a commitment, and you remember, you and me, and I can't be there if you don't tell me what's going on. Now, I remember the first episode when Jordan told Spencer, you must not remember that trip to Vegas, and Spencer mentions, them being inseparable, with their black love. Now, hearing Jordan says this makes me think what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I believe the summer secret and why everyone was in Vegas was not just an impromptu trip, but for a wedding. Jordan and Simone's wedding, to be exact. This would explain why Jordan is so keen to be everywhere she is and why that comment of commitment was even made. Yeah, I know. Mind blown. I mean, eyes are smart. Eyes are smart. Now, afterward, they drive to this yellow house where the adopted family live, and she basically says she wants her son back, and she has 3 days to make that decision. Now, we're not going to forget about Darnell. Darnell is also carrying the load of this episode. He is on his way to see his mom, from what occurred in the last episode where they were told something happened to his mom. He is on his way out, and the constant feeling of not having any stable roots is causing him to push people away. Darnell does this for almost the entire episode before he gets a talk from Spencer where Darnell lets Spencer know that he is a military brat and he has always moved around, and he feels that it's his fault for getting comfortable there, and he forgot that he most likely will move again. But Spencer, the family and friends really came together to send him off right with food, gifts, wisdom, laughter, and reassurance that he does have a place to call home and that they will be there when he returns. Alright? Now, we did still have some subplots in the episode. Layla is learning the hard way that the business world is a much scarier place, even when you work with family. And her dad is not making it easy for her. He is determined to keep Patient under her contract, so much so that Layla questions her ability to manage, and Coop has to let her know that, you know, Layla, you are amazing, and you will figure it out. And figure it out she did, because at the end of the episode, Layla is suing her dad's company for signing Patience because she is a minor. I mean, if that don't bring your family together, a good old lawsuit y'all can talk about over dinner, then I don't know what will, you know? You know? We also get Asher being Asher. Can't get right. And this guy got called upon during film study on what went wrong during a play, and because he Asher, he don't know what's going on. Like, then he proceeds to try to convince the coach why he got it wrong. Without giving him much detail, Asher is grilled, you know, this episode for being selfish and trying to get back on the team and not helping the team. Whatever Vanessa and her little hard eyes for him been saying to the coach, all the good qualities, she is not seeing it, and she grills him about it. It was a nice little section in there where she lets him have it. But you know, and you guessed it, by the end of the episode, Asher hits a complete 180, and he was like, "I'm here to help my team," which puts a smile on Coach's face, because she like, about time can't get right, you get something. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah. Also, Coop has a new song. I'm sorry, Coop. I'm sorry, but Coop has a new song. During the beginning of the episode, we get a song or a track from Coop and Patient that plays and has been going viral. And this is another reason why Patient wants to get out of the contract, because she wants to actually do the song with Coop. I'm glad to finally hear some new music from her, because, you know, that was one of her core elements in season 1 and 2, like once she discovered it. And I want to see more of that, especially since she's on tour and she's signed. Like, I want to see more of that. Like, I know y'all got her with the Mo stuff, but I want to see her actually do. Now, there are a few scenes I want to address before giving you the good, the bad, and the downright disrespectful, all right? Liv and Spencer. We finally get to see where hashtag spin or hashtag lens or hashtag liver. None of them names work. Scratch that. We can get a scene with Spencer and Liv, alright? I've been waiting for this, and so I know y'all been waiting for this as well. Liv comes to pick up an order for the fam in the only place in town where, you know, they seem always to go to, and they see Spencer. Maybe because he works there, whatever. But anyway, they quickly see each other and get into some nice little banter. Liv mentions that her and Kia are teaching kids how to dance at the rec center, and they showed them some LA film, LA Dancer, and Crumpers. And this jumps into a little funny moment where Spencer does this thing. He starts trying to crump. He talking about they used to call him Professor Crump. And it is hilarious. Like, I love seeing them just kick it and laugh. And Liv was like, "Yo, don't do that again. Like, cut it out. Wrong answer. Like, get out of here." And after the laughing, Spencer says, you know, they grew close last year, and during the summer, even though, you know, the summer may have changed something, he misses his friend. And she acknowledges and says she misses her friend too. And then they start talking about, you know, Spencer and his therapy and his stuck points and, you know, him being shot. And Liv immediately apologizes, saying, you know, she's sorry for him getting shot. And Spencer quickly, like, grabs her hand. I'm talking about, come on, he came up on her, just like, and grabbed her hand real quick and was like, she is not the one to blame, and he would do it again. They stare into each other's eyes all romantically, just... And then, you know, Liv, food arrives and they pull away, and then she takes off, you know, calling him Professor Crump, and, you know, he says, "You better recognize," or something like that. But I love the moment between them, because that has always been their relationship, and it's some good moments. We get to see that. But I'm still upset about some things, all right? I'm mad at the writers. I'm mad at the writers because they keep forgetting things. Like, they forget that Liv was shot as well. Like while she is apologizing for Spencer being shot, like, where's her mental wellness check at? Like, she experienced something traumatic as well. And another thing we keep doing is hearing of third-party activities that Liv is a part of. Like, can we see them? Can we see them? Like, stop using her for a trope and let us start seeing her do things away from the group. But you know, maybe I'm on my soapbox. But anywho, let's continue. Tonight's episode has been good to us on many fronts on the Spencer and Liv relationship. So Spencer's sitting with therapist and he's going on this long monologue about Liv, like how they met, how they like bonded, how they bond or how they vibe over everything. And Spencer, you know, acts like maybe Liv is a stuck point, but you know, she wasn't, and we already know who it was. But the therapist says, like, he quickly says, no, his emotions or his feelings for Liv is clear. He's in love with her. And you know what Spencer does. Like, he does that whole Spencer denial thing. He tries to bring up Layla and try to say, you know, I love her. No, I can't be her. Like, Spencer, man, cut it out. Like, cut it out. You too grown. You too old for this. Cut it out. Cut it out. You know, Liv is the boo. We know it. We know, and if you don't know it, send her this way. All right? Send her this way so we can stop playing. And we can stop playing. We can cut all the play out of this. Just send her this way. But anywho, we get the question of the episode. Who does Spencer blame for him getting shot? And I guessed it right away. I knew it wasn't Tyrone. I knew it wasn't Liv. I knew it wasn't even himself. Yes, Coop was his stuck point. We learn at the end of the episode, as Spencer voice narrates what he is writing, that he's always tried to protect Coop from everything. And because of that, he was shot. And now, due to that, Coop is now the bookmark that won't let him heal or move forward. The irony, right? Now, Jordan and Simone was the other couple that I wanted to discuss in a little bit more detail. Grandpa really returned, and don't worry, he's still the same old low-down Willie that we had from the last 2 seasons. His concern, he was concerned that Jordan wasn't focused on football and rather too focused on Simone. I think he does have a point because I think they're married, but Billy doesn't see it until I believe Jordan was like he couldn't make it to like team pictures or something because he had to do something with Simone, and that something with Simone was to go get her baby back. Simone, you know, let him know in the car that she's going to take her, or Simone let him know when they sat down that she's going to take her baby back. And in the car, she told him, I know you didn't sign up for this. Sign up for this. Like, again, because they're married. But at the end of the episode, Simone meets up with the parents, and she sees that her son is happy. She sees that the parents are happy. So she changes her mind, and she doesn't want the child back. She was going to walk back, but the mom called her back and basically gave her some reassurance saying, hey, you know, he's a lucky child to have 2 moms, and maybe you can come by and see him sometime, you know, and see how he grows up. They even let her hold the baby, which I think was nice, and it was just Hollywood moment. I do believe that moment was stripped away from a lot of its realness, and a lot of the emotion was stripped out of it so we can have a happy TV moment, because this was a serious issue. Like, you just adopted a baby that you've been trying to have for a long time, and now the mother of the child who gave you the baby through the right procedures, who gave you the baby, is about to come take the baby away from you after, or possibly take it away from you after you have bonded with it, or bonded with him. Sorry, I said it. Bonded with him, and like, y'all are just like, oh yeah, you know, I know they're gonna play nice, but I would have loved to see the worry, the fear, the emotion in that. Cause we got it from Simone on her end. I would love to see it on their end as well, as they found that medium before, you know, Simone being like, he is happy, let me back up, and she like, okay, let me step forward. You know, I would love to see that, because we did have a scene when Jordan interacted with the dad, and it was horrible to me. It was horrible. Like, the man talking about get off my block. Like, bro, your block. Well, you better cut it out. You better cut it out. Well, I swear. Like, that scene, so I felt like they ran out of film, so they didn't have enough time to reshoot the scene, because that scene was comical. Like, like, stop it. But anyway, I may be on my soapbox. Let me know. Let's move forward. Now, let's discuss the good, the bad, and the downright disrespectful. All right, the good. Again, for me, has been all about the mental wellness checks and the pacing of this episode. Usually the pacing has been bad, but I feel like this episode was pretty good. I love the introduction of therapy, the homework, the stuck points, all that jazz. As someone has been through therapy and still go, I know what it's like, so I'm happy to see that on TV, especially with people of color. Also, again, the pacing from this episode has been great. It flowed from, the main plot and then only like one or two subplots, and we got to see more character development throughout our 45 minutes or so, alright? The bad. I don't think I really had too much bad this episode. Like, besides Asher still being Asher and Willie still being Willie, that's all I got from this episode. If y'all had something bad, point it out. But that's all I got. The disrespectful. The writers would live. I understand TV ratings. I understand all that jazz. But can we move past that trope? And let's start, and instead of talking about what she does, let's see it. And let's see it away from the group. She teaches dance. She has a podcast. She has an art. She has all these things. Can we explore these things? Can we also address her mental well-being? Huh? Like I'm talking to you. Sit down. Yes, huh? The Spencer stuff can wait. Let's give her the character development she needs. Alright? But overall, I like the episode. I feel like out of all of them so far, that episode to me has been the best one. To me. Alright? Now that we covered that, let's move on to episode 5. How come? Well, I enjoyed episode 4. Tonight's episode, that was a miss for me. And it felt like, when someone knows a camera's on them, so they try to like overperform or show off. That's how this episode went for me. It started off with Beverly Hills with a football game where Jordan gets hit hard. I'm talking about crack, pat, pat, pat. So hard that, he had sat out the game due to a mild concussion. And that's going to be Jordan's like mild plot point on this whole episode. JJ steps up as QB, and with Asher 2.0 giving plays, they end up winning games. Which Jordan is happy they won, but he's not happy they won with JJ as captain. While on the other end, Crenshaw is getting chewed out while they are now 0-2, and Chris still can't get right. Episode 4, we had Asher resuming his role of can't get right, but he shed it at the end and became Asher 2.0. Now Chris picked up the slack and wrapped himself and adorned himself and can't get right. And he came back rocking the Cleo set it off braids like like he still refuses to throw the ball to Spencer, and he says Spencer needs to play a full game before he try to critique his game. Like, my goodness, like I wanted to uppercut Chris so bad this episode. I'm talking about like Mortal Kombat uppercut that whoopsie, when you knock him through the ceiling, knock him through different areas, and like that's what I wanted to do to Chris this episode. Like you really committed to this can't get right role, huh? You really committed, like. Let's calm down and give y'all a review. Oh, I need a libation break. Hold on. Woo! Okay. Anywho, I'm mentioning another Chris moment because the reasoning is tied to many moving parts of this episode. Liv is finally getting some screen time away from Spencer and the group, and we're finally getting that time to work on Liv and her issues. Her sobriety sister, Amber, makes her appearance here in the episode, and she just want to check on Liv and see how she's doing. To her, something is off with Liv, and so she asked her how she reached out to her sponsor. And if you remember her sponsor from the last season, she ghosted her towards the end, so Liv stopped calling her. She stopped messing with her. So Amber is stepping up to let her know that she's there for her, and if she wants to talk, but Liv, being all crackhead fidgety, she's like, I'm okay, I'm fine, which we all know she not. Back at Crenshaw, Chris is getting some extra practice, and guess who? Coach Baker. That man was suited and booted and out there making tackles. I said, okay, Coach Baker. He's trying to get Chris out of his head, build his confidence, and get him back in the game. But, Chris don't want to open up to him, so Billy asks Spencer to, take the lead, and go ahead and figure out what's going on. Now, before Spencer was even asked, he was sitting there with his therapist going over, his new discovery of Coop being his stuck point. And the takeaway here is Spencer needs to do the hard thing and telling his best friend that she's the reason he's been shot. She is his stuck point, and she's the reason why his mind and body are not in sync. This leaves him on a crash course to sitting down and meeting with Chris, and after much pushing, Chris lets him know why, what, or who is holding him back. And if you haven't guessed it, it's Spencer. Spencer is Chris's stuck point. Chris blames Spencer for that hit, even though he tries not to. He blames him for the mental block. He blames him for, possibly not being able to walk again. And every time they walk on the field together, he's constantly reminding of that. This scene was there to, help handhold or walk us through Spencer's reluctance to tell Coop the same thing. It was also some hand-holding for the viewers and getting us there. And then Mama Grace came to also grab your hands as well to let Spencer know that even though Chris said it to him, he still needs a friend because Chris didn't tell him because he knew that it would hurt Spencer. He didn't want to give some of that burden to Spencer, and maybe he didn't realize that until he walked onto the field with him. Then she goes on to say she was proud of Spencer for listening to something that was hard to hear, and Chris deprived Spencer of owning his part in it. While the advice was golden, it felt too forced to me. It didn't come off as natural. It seemed like people were like, we got to mention stuck points like 50 times this episode. We got to walk people through this conversation of discovery instead of letting it be a natural progression type of ordeal. Like, I feel like they were just going beat to beat. Like, okay, we got to mention stuck point. Okay, we got to mention it's hard to hear. Okay, we got to mention this person. Like it wasn't natural. It felt scripted. Now, while we got that going on, over in Beverly, Jordan is still going through it. He wants to be QB1 so bad, and sitting out is a no-go. He see JJ in his red jersey talking about, there's where my jersey went. And this is my surprise, Asher calls him out about it. Okay, Mr. Pot. And it didn't even start there. Like, back at the Baker's house, Asher is over there looking at plays and looking at stuff to, pitch to the coach. And Jordan's sitting back there salty. I'm talking about high blood pressure. Like, he immediately gets in Asher's neck and be like, yo, like, he don't like Asher 2.0. So he reminds him of the steroid use and the whole gameplay debacle. And he lets him have it before he leaves and goes to meet up in the next scene with his dad and Coach Manny. And they go ahead and start sharing game discussions and whatnot. And Manny mentions, him taking nausea pills to get past the concussion that he had. And you guessed it, ding, 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 ding. That was the idea that Jordan had because, he's been lying and saying that he's been fine about the concussion so he can get back on the field. He said he wasn't experiencing no nausea, none of that stuff, no headaches, nothing. So he can get on it, but we all know he has, and hearing that he can take nausea pills and stuff to circumvent that, he was like, got you. These Beverly cats, they sure do not learn, I tell you, bruh. Now, back to Liv. Her mom is concerned that Liv is using again and wants to get a toxicology done by using her hair from her hairbrush. Billy says don't do that and that he'll talk to her first, which he did, but Liv again said she was fine and that the only dynamic that changed was the now seemingly broken, separated family and her being the barometer as to how their relationship is going. The cracks are starting to show on Liv, and it'll be very soon before something bad happens to her if she doesn't seek help. We can see that. Speaking of which, Amber, her sobriety sister, does a massive pull-up this episode. I'm talking about skirt. She pulled up to the house, right, on Liv to confront her. And she let her know, like, yo, like, I'm an addict just like you, and I see the signs. Like, I know the lies because I told the lies. She knows all that, and she lets her know that, before long, you will learn that the addiction is an actual control and not you. Like, somebody got to tell her. Y'all not telling her. Somebody got to tell her. And all this is wrapped up in a nice bow when Miss Baker brings in a nice envelope with the test results, but doesn't want to open it because she broke her trust with her daughter. Liv actually says open it. I think she's ready to confront everything, so she says open it. And then they do open it, and they do this bait and switch type of thing where they look at it. She's like, I knew it, to make you think she's seen it. But when you get sight of the test results, they did not test alcohol on the test, so she passed with flying colors. Now, even with that, Liv still tried to tell her the truth, but we got that annoying TV telephone incoming call where the phone rings when something important is about to be told. So Liv then takes that moment and says, I ain't saying jack, and guiltily goes upstairs, so she's going to try to pour out her alcohol. And while she's doing that, Jordan comes in the bathroom, pushes her out, closes the door, and you hear him just throwing up the ghost. Now, while Jordan has passed his test to return back to the game, he has been on pills, and he's been lying about his concussion being over. So both the Bakers on their bullish tonight. Now, in the moment that Jordan passed, Asher was also allowed back on the team. Jordan did apologize. Well, he said my bad to Asher and said he paid for his mistakes. And then the coach was like, yeah, you did pay for your mistakes, and gave him his jersey and see him on the field. I do want to see how this turns out because, Jordan acting dumb and I don't know. It's a mess. Now, back at Crenshaw, Chris is still mad again. He mad because Spencer wanted to add extra protection to him on the field so he doesn't panic or clam up, and Chris's default is on can't act right, so he can't see anything done out of love for him. Spencer and light skin swollenness have to let him know, hey man, we here to take care of you. So anyway, they get on the field to play, and I'm talking about they stanking the field up. Horrible. Horrible. But then we get the old TV magic. You know what I'm saying? Where Chris just decides, hey, I'm going to tuck my little stuck point right here. Yeah, I'm going to tuck it right here, and I'm going to start playing right. Like, he contributed it to, because seeing his team risk it and put it out on the line, that he can risk it and put it out on the line after he took a hit. After that moment, they completely transformed into a whole new team. He talking about open the playbook, and they just start hitting touchdown. Even Spencer even hit a front flip in the dang touchdown into the end zone. Like, I'm not making this stuff up. Like, bro, the movie magic or TV magic was real, and they end up winning 35-17. Bruh. Lastly, we get the Coop and Spencer moment we've been waiting for this whole entire episode. Coop has also been going through it this episode, alright? She does not trust Mo, and everyone is telling her she needs to let it go. I'm talking about that Teddy P. I need to let it go. That's what she needs to do. She needs to let it go. And so Patience gets Mo to help her get out of her contract, right? And she does. And Coop was not feeling that at all. But of course, Patience lets her have it before walking off. But in that entire conversation, Coop was just doing this fake to me the entire time, and I was cracking up. But anywho, also Spencer has been avoiding her. So she pulled up on Spencer, and she's trying to talk to him, and she can see that it's a little different. So she's trying to use her venting about Patience to, kind of bring him out of his shell. But, again, Spencer's acting indifferent. And eventually Spencer finally opens up and says, and he tells her, she is the reason why he got shot. And it's a soundtrack playing in this scene. It's played to, try to amplify the drama. But it actually took away from me then built it up. It felt too scripted. Like, if they would have cut the track, like stripped everything and made that scene raw as possible, it would have did more for me. It would have felt natural and real instead of feeling like a situation in a TV show. And then from there, the episode ends, and we're left with wait another week until the next episode to see how this affects their relationship. Now, I know that was a lot, but we got through it. But before we leave, we got to get into the good, the bad, and the downright disrespectful. The good. We finally get Liv away from the others, y'all. I hope they continue this to show all sides of her, you know, as well as her positivities, as well as her addiction. Display her more than just a doughy-eyed girl and reverting back to the preseason one her. Like let's continue to show some depth of her. All right, she deserves it. Now the bad Jordan again. This dude can't stay off my list. This dude is wishy-washy this season. Seemed like he was heading in a new direction, and now he acting dumb again. Like I don't know what they doing with him. He's too across the. He's all over the board, man. And then Chris again, like the attitude, the color purple braids, like that face expression, all that stuff is getting on my nerves. Like, I'm hoping that, you know, since he magically healed his stuck point and got past all that, which he didn't get through from getting hit all the mother games, I guess this hit was different. I'm hoping since, you know, he changed, that his attitude changes as well. Because I don't know how many times I'm going to get tired of seeing him and his can't get right attitude. And lastly, the disrespectful. All the holding hand moments in this episode. I know, soapbox again, but I know the intention was good. You know, people want to teach people about stuck points and talking about people, places, or things that have you stuck there. But, however, it felt so unnatural. Maybe it was just me, but I just couldn't get past this episode. And hopefully it doesn't do this moving forward, because y'all going to see me on my box again. But I hope you enjoyed my episode 4 or 5 recap, and I hope to see you again. If you like the episode recap, then give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, show some love by hitting this sub, and share like you care. And we'll see you in the next video, alright? Y'all be safe out there, have fun, and take care. We out. Peace. You just come running by.